Hello and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick, and joining me equally as always is Devon.
Yes. I'm going to get my steel chair and smash it over Rick's head.
Yeah, today we're doing a bit of it's not quite super wrestling themed, but we're using the wrestling terminology of heel face and face heel turns. We're doing a top 5 list today. But before we get too far into any of that, let's go with our good old time-honored tradition of the nonsense asinine hypotheticals. And what have you got for me today?
So I've got a bit of a question that's wrestling themed in the sense that I got it from wrestling, but it's not actually wrestling themed, so you can totally answer it.
Sure, okay.
So going along with today's theme of the episode in general, has there ever been a character in a show or franchise or anything where you've gone, I really wish they'd fucking have a turn right here for this character, either for the benefit of the character or it's just something you wanted to see?
Raditz?
Okay, so you just want, So how do you mean? Would you do it differently than the online currently series that's going on?
Yeah, so the Masako X What If Raditz Turned Good, I liked that series in particular, but also I think he was a completely wasted character in terms of everything that he could have been. I think he in particular is one character who I wish got reused at the very least.
Well, here's the thing, Akira Toriyama, bless him, wasn't very good at bringing back scrub-tier villains, because I distinctly remember, I can't remember if it was a movie or if it was in Super, where everyone got revived because of some bullshit, and Vegeta stumbled upon Nappa, and Nappa didn't even get a voice line. He just looked at Vegeta menacingly, and Vegeta went, "Ha ha, you're a bitch," and then killed him in one go.
That sounds like something that happened in GT.
It might have been GT. I've only seen this clip in isolation. I've not actually seen the surrounding context.
Yeah, so if Cell looks really weird in it, then it was GT.
I didn't see Cell, that's the problem. I literally just saw this clip of Nappa coming out of some rubble. Vegeta saw him and went, "Ha, you've always been pathetic."
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if it was GT, then Toriyama had very little to do with it. But yeah, like Raditz is my first pick. I might be able to pick someone better if I think more about it, but that's the first thing I go to. How about you? Who's going to be your pick for a hypothetical face turn / heel turn?
Yeah, for me, it would probably be John Cena in about 2011.
Okay.
John Cena's been a face ever since he pretty much got catapulted to be the face of the company. And from a business point of view, totally makes sense not to touch him and have him just be a face. And I totally get it. However, it would have been cool if he had a bit of a heel turn. In fact, I might have kept watching the product instead of having a massive break. But they were aimed towards kids. Again, from a business point of view, makes sense. Superman, John Cena. But have a bit of that old ruthless aggression and have him be a bit of a fuck. That would have been interesting to see. And John Cena can do that if you ask him to. Yeah,
totally. Like, he's he plays the peacemaker, and he's not exactly a good hero.
But yeah, I would have liked to have seen that, and I'm sure I'm not alone in that thought. But it is what it is. John Cena's pretty much cemented his legacy as a face, and I don't think we'll ever see heel Cena ever again, and that's just fine. Rick, do you have a question for me?
My one is a bit of a weird one. It's what purely good-intentioned fictional character would make the worst chief of state?
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, probably.
And there's a reason why I say this, because I've forgotten the artist's name, but there's someone who has been drawing and doing little animatics of Winnie the Pooh getting various leadership roles, and the animator's character, as in he himself in the comic, his only job is to keep Pooh as innocent and happy as possible. So much so that when he became the United States president, he's like, okay, there's a war going on here, here, and here, and we need to deal with it, Mr. President, sir. And he goes, oh, can't everybody just get along? And the artist's representation of himself just wells up and goes, I'll see what I can do, Pooh.
I'll see what I can do, Pooh.
It's just so like, he'd be so inept at government, but his heart is too pure for it, as you say, which is the nature of the question. I assume you've had some time to ponder on this, so what is your thought?
Yeah, my thought on this is Alpha 5.
Alpha 5?
Because, yeah.
Gotcha, sorry.
Yeah. Because he's so fucking useless. Like, he's not even useful in the command center. All he is just an automated system.
Like, he's
and
only
he
there
panics
to
at everything.
give the Power Rangers, or rather the villains of the Power Rangers, an easy target to incapacitate.
Yeah, he's an easy target. It's someone the kids identify with because, I don't know about you, but I was a useless kid. So, like, it's not as if I could achieve anything when I was a kid, so maybe that's what they were trying to make kids identify with.
I think you've got a very unique viewpoint, Rick, because most people, when they saw Power Rangers, didn't watch it and go, oh, look, there's Alpha, that's me. They went, look, there's the Red and Green Ranger, I want to be them.
Oh, yeah, you want to be them, but, like, the realism is, oh, yeah, I'm probably, like, at best, Skull.
This had to have been like a realization you had at an older age, because there's no way you're thinking as a kid, oh, I'm just going to be Alpha for life.
I mean...
No, you didn't think that when
you
didn't think that when you were 6.
I mean, when I was 6, Power Rangers wasn't out yet.
Well, you get my point now, right?
Yeah. But yeah, like, as someone who panics at everything and, like, essentially achieves nothing other than being a glorified Roomba, I think he would be one of the worst choices to make into a world leader.
I'd just be a puppet, wouldn't he?
Yeah. for Zordon at best. But yes, we're going to get into our top 5 list. So, who's going to be your number 5 in heel face turns or face heel turns?
Oh, you're not going to even bother with honourable mention then?
Oh shit, yeah. So, before we get into the top 5, do you have any honourable mentions? Because I don't. I've got my list and I tried to make it as concise as I could.
I've got an honourable mention because it's a pull. We'll put it that way. Back when I was a kid, The Undertaker was a bad guy. He was a villain. You are to boo this man, is basically his MO. He had an alliance with Jake the Snake Roberts, who was another fan favourite despite being a heel, because he had a snake. And yes, that is the reason why kids loved him.
Yeah.
Macho Man Randy Savage had a Redding on one of the shows, and he was feuding with Jake the Snake. So they cut to Jake the Snake behind the curtain with a steel chair in hand, and he says, I don't care who comes through that curtain next, I'm going to kill them, is basically what he said. Now, he had no way of knowing if Macho Man or Miss Elizabeth was going to be the one who came through the curtain, and you can imagine what the audience felt about this.
Yeah.
So cut to The Undertaker out of nowhere, just walking behind Jake the Snake and wrenching the chair out of his hands. And Jake the Snake is like, whose side is you on? Whose side? And Undertaker just goes in the Undertaker voice, not yours.
Yeah.
And that was his first face turn.
Cool. I like that. That sounds good. Yeah.
I can guarantee if you really wanted to watch it, it's 2 minutes long and you can find it on YouTube.
Yeah. It sounds hype as hell, actually. So yeah, who's going to be your actual number 5?
My actual number 5 is going to be Griffith from Berserk.
Okay. Very obviously a heel turn because
yeah,
I've seen images. And I'm generally aware of the bromance of when things are good.
Yeah, so the reason why this is so low on my list is because despite being such a total and overwhelming betrayal of Guts, the way the manga is actually set out is the very first couple of chapters is Guts. I almost called Guts Berserk. How fucking stupid is that? Is Guts post-betrayal being like, I'm gonna fucking murder Griffith, and then it cuts to the Golden Age where he meets Griffith and they're best buddies. So the actual story for the Golden Age is, how the fuck does this turn sour?
Yeah.
So there's no surprise that the heel turn happens, because we as viewers and readers know it's gonna happen, because Guts fucking hates Griffith and we just don't know why. And yeah, it's a bad one. Technically speaking, Guts turns on Griffith first. He leaves the Band of the Hawk. At least that's how Griffith sees it. In reality, Guts is like trying to be seen as someone of worth to Griffith. Unbeknownst to him, he is someone of worth to Griffith, but he overheard Griffith saying, if someone doesn't have their own goals and aspirations, they're worthless.
Right, okay.
And Guts' desires and ambitions at that time was to make sure Griffith achieves his. So that's what. So he saw that as if Griffith thinks I'm worthless, then I should go out and find my own goals and do this and blah blah. So he leaves the Band of the Hawk. By the way, I'm oversimplifying this. If you're a Berserk nerd, I get that I'm glossing over a lot of the nuances and the details. And yeah, by the time he returns to Griffith did some questionable decisions and had been locked in a dungeon for a long time, disfigured and whatnot. So he resorted to the Baylet. He became one of the God Hand, and he killed the entirety of the Band of the Hawk, except for Guts, because Guts, the story doesn't happen if Guts gets killed there. Guts loses an arm as he watches Griffith sexually assault Casca, who is Guts' love interest, in front of him. And honestly, it doesn't really get much more evil than that, really, does it? Like, I'm going to kill all your friends, all your family, you're branded for life. Also, I'm going to assault your wife and or girlfriend.
Yeah, it's grim.
Yeah,
It's grim as hell.
It's not nice. It's not pleasant. You're not supposed to be rooting for Griffith at this point. There are some people online who say Griffith did nothing wrong. If they say that unironically, you should be afraid of that person because they are a psychopath.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Most people who say Griffith did nothing wrong are doing so as for the memes. I still think it's a dumb thing to say, but I get that there's no actual correlation between their words and what they're saying. They're just like, haha, funny, lol, meme. So yeah, Griffith, certified bastard. Who's your number 5, Rick?
My number 5 is one of these. You can't have this list without him, so I'm just going to put him out straight away. Vegeta.
I thought this was going to come.
Yeah, so we knew he was coming. Some people might be a little skeptical of why I put him so low, and it's because I think the other ones that I've got on the list are all a bit more compelling. Vegeta in Z is a bit hazy feel, and he doesn't really cement himself as a good guy until, like, the end of the Buu saga.
Like, I remember the beginning of the Buu saga, because I watched that much, where he turned on the party for the 700th time to get a little boost by having an M tattoo.
Yeah, he got his little tattoo, he got his power boost, he killed a bunch of people just to show that he can and that he wasn't afraid to do so. And yeah, I think the modus operandi of Toriyama at the time was Vegeta does whatever is most inconvenient to the party at the time. And this very much definitely happened. And he doesn't really become a good guy until after he's dead, after he sacrifices himself to try and kill Majin Buu. But after that, it does really stick.
Yeah, but he's still a bastard.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? It's something that I actually kind of appreciate is when someone does a heel face turn, but they don't actually change as a character. Do you know what I mean? They're aligned with the good guys, but they're still a prick.
Yeah, like who their bastardness is getting pointed at is all that changes.
Like, someone pointed this out to me. It's actually the most funny in sport anime, where they'll be like, oh, the enemy team has this, I'll use soccer as an example, because I believe there is actually one based around that, where it's like, oh, they've got a defender who is super ruthless. He slide tackles like a motherfucker, and he doesn't care who he hurts. And it's just like, the camera unironically points to the teammate they have who does the same thing, but he's on their team, so it's okay.
Yeah. And if they become a transfer later on, then he becomes a star player for doing exactly the same things too.
It's so dumb. I love it.
Yeah. So yeah, who's going to be your number 4?
My number 4 is the only other wrestling example I can think of that actually stands out and was mind-blowing at the time.
Okay.
I am, of course, talking about Seth freaking Rollins of The Shield.
You'll have to enlighten me.
Okay, so there was a faction in the WWE called The Shield. It was Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and Dean Ambrose. All three of those are now big names in the not even WWE, in the wrestling world. Dean Ambrose is the champion of, I can't remember what he's the champion of, but he is a champion and works for AEW. Seth Rollins is currently in the title scene. Roman Reigns was the champion and recently got unthroned, but they're all big fucking deals in the wrestling world. So this faction was their first spotlight in the WWE. And before the turn happened, Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose kept fighting and arguing, and you're just like, who's going to be the bad guy who splits up the Shield? And despite the fact Seth Rollins was the glue, he was keeping the faction and team together, and then one day the big bad corporation came out and were like, you're so-and-so, something, blah, 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 best for business. And the chair shot that was heard around the world, I believe they refer to it, where from nowhere Seth Rollins just smacks the shit out of Roman Reigns from behind with a chair. And Dean Ambrose's character acting is on point because the camera zooms in on him and he has got a look of sheer fucking shock on his face as Seth Rollins dismantles the Shield, and was known as the architect for a while because of it, because he built the Shield and he broke the Shield.
Yeah, that sounds pretty hype as well.
It is, because again, I can't stress enough how dominant the Shield was as a faction, and all of a sudden it got dissolved. And long-term storytelling in wrestling is rare nowadays. They don't really do it. But when they do, it's a real fucking chef's kiss. And I was just speaking about Roman Reigns, who was the champion and got dethroned. He had a dominant title reign. What happened before he lost his title most recently was he had a mini feud with Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins came out in the Shield gear, and it fucked with Roman Reigns' head.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Again, it's just little details like that are great. Like, Roman Reigns will prioritize beating the shit out of Seth Rollins because Seth Rollins broke something precious.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was technically a heel turn, but it was also kind of a cementing face turn for Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose, because the Shield was a weird faction where they were kind of tweeners.
Sure. Okay. I get you.
You heard of that expression before?
I think you've mentioned it before. Yeah, you got your tweens. Yeah.
Well, not tweens. That's a different thing.
Tweeners.
Tweeners. Yeah. It's just a brief in between. Like they're neither or.
Yeah. A heel face revolving door.
No, that's a different thing entirely. That's the Big Show.
Sure.
But yeah, I appreciate you're not a wrestling guy and you're not up to date on wrestling, and that's fine. Rick, who's your number 4?
My number 4 is Catra. She takes a long time to actually have her face turn, in the fact that it only really happens at the end, which is something that I criticize Vegeta for, but there was a time where it could have gone either way earlier on, like during the desert arc.
I mean, I'll be real with you, I think the thing that bothers me the most is it just... because Catra was clearly abused and manipulated by Shadow Weaver, mentally, not anything, it makes sense that Catra will stay with the Horde, but as a viewer, it was incredibly frustrating where you will get everything you want right now if you switch sides, Catra, and that's in like episode 2.
Yeah, because Adora has realized, we can like not be evil, and we can have a talking horse, and and Catra's like, nah, you come back with me and be with me back here, and she doesn't get over it for a long ass time.
Look, I'm just saying, I'd read that fanfic where Catra switched there and then, and Adora and Catra could have had happy lesbian fun time adventures.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, she's a compelling villain at pretty much all stages, and it just gives me warm and fuzzy feelings when she finally makes the turn for good.
Absolutely, and like speaking of She-Ra, like there are 3 other people who have like alignment shifts, but none of them are really face heel turns, because Shadow Weaver switches out of necessity, and she's arguably still not a good guy. Entraptor doesn't know what alignment is; she just does what she does, and Scorpia's never evil; she's just on the wrong side.
Yeah, totally. Like, Entraptor is pretty much 100% exactly what you said about Vegeta, in that if her alignment changed, her character did not. Her character was incredibly static throughout everything. And yeah, she was like, I'm trying to help. Will you let me help? Even though everyone seems to hate her.
Yeah, autism sucks.
Yeah. But yes, let's get into number 3. Who's going to be on number 3?
Number 3 is Jason Todd.
Okay.
Jason...
the Red Hood.
Correct. Jason Todd got killed off in... I can't remember the decade, but he got killed off via reader poll, and then subsequently became one of the most awesome characters ever.
Yeah, I'm going to hazard a guess it's like the 70s or 80s.
I feel like it's the 80s, but I really don't... It could have been the 70s. It could have even been early 90s, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Either way...
It wasn't the noughties, because I knew about it.
Oh yeah, definitely wasn't that. If it was the 90s, it was early 90s, but I feel confident that it was the 80s, Yeah. But yeah, he got killed in the most brutal way by the Joker, and honestly, I think the best version of the story is quite possibly the animated movie of like the Return of the Red Hood or something like that, where it shows you... This is one where DiMaggio voices Joker, by the way.
Okay.
He does a decent job, but he's no Hamill. That's the problem. You're always going to be compared to Mark Hamill when you voice the Joker. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, like, it's such an iconic voice that, yeah, everything is going to be... He's either going to be taking off Mark Hamill or doing something so completely different that you put your own spin on it. But even then, people are going to be thinking about Mark Hamill.
Yeah. But yeah, they show you the brutality. And near the end, because the Red Hood's been a thorn in Batman's side for most of the film, the end is literally the Red Hood has the Joker tied to a chair the exact same way that Jason Todd was. And his confrontation isn't even with the Joker, it's with Batman. And there's the speech goes, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, that I'm not talking about killing Harvey, I'm not talking about killing the Penguin or Scarecrow, I'm talking about him, the man who took me from you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, Batman's like, it's too easy. And it's like, Batman is so wrong in this scenario. I think it helps that they make Jason Todd a bit more focused in his anger and his grief, because I believe his actual motivation is, let's get rid of crime off the street entirely. If you deal drugs, I will shoot you, etc., etc. Which is far far too harsh of a stance to take. But when his stance is toned down to, the Joker effectively killed me and took my life from me because he took me from you, we should get rid of the Joker, he is too dangerous. When it's targeted specifically at the Joker, it's like, yeah, that motherfucker needs to die.
Yeah, like, specifically at the Joker, that is objectively correct. Like, the only reason that it's not the only way forward is to sell comics in future.
The Batman is so fucking weird when it comes... Because here's the thing, is the Joker does get under the Batman skin quite a bit, in the sense that if the Batman ever kills the Joker's like, ha, I won. And the Batman can't live with that.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the Joker is a problem and needs to go away.
Yeah. And sometimes the only way to do that is to get rid of him properly. And, I think the only ways to get rid of him are basically to kill him or to heal him. And I don't think he's able to be healed at this point.
He doesn't want to be either, is the problem.
Oh, definitely not, no. No.
Like, he is such a corrupting influence that he fucking made an Arkham Asylum doctor as insane as he is.
Yes.
But you know, hey ho diddly do. Red Hood is technically a face heel turn because he went from being Robin to this vigilante. I forget the name of the game, but there's a game out. I think it's called. It's not Arkham Knights. I don't think. I think that's a different game. I've forgotten what it's.
Arkham City, I think.
No, it's not even Arkham City. It's a 4-player fucking co-op game where the Bat Kids have to take over patrolling Gotham because the Batman is dead in universe, and they get Nightwing, they get Batgirl, they get Red Robin, and they get the Red Hood, and it's like, hang on a minute, that doesn't fucking compute. But the justification in story is when Bruce dies, Jason Todd turns over a new leaf and now uses rubber bullets. And it's like, oh, fuck off. But anyway,
he doesn't have Bruce to try and get one over on, as it were.
Yeah, it's one of those. Anyway, definitely a face heel turn from going from Robin to the Red fucking Hood. And there's not much else to say really. Rick, who's your number 3?
My number 3 is Discord from My Little Pony.
Got me howling at the moon.
Yep. So in his initial appearance, he just gets defeated and turned back into a statue, except this time he's not quite as much of a fabulous pose as before. When he gets thawed out, as it were, technically he has a face turn in the same episode, but for the rest of the series, nobody trusts him apart from Fluttershy. And even Fluttershy kind of still knows that he has the ability to still do not so much evil as just selfishness and chaos.
Well, here's the problem, isn't it? Because, like, Discord is just Q, and Q is arguably not evil, he's just a dick.
Yeah. Pretty much. Like, they even created the character after watching a Star Trek marathon. And got John Delancey to do it. So, yeah, it's just Q again, like you say. And it's, I think it's best shown in the villain episode finale, where it's all of the former villains just do a team up and do a season finale because the main characters are captured or otherwise incapacitated. And he really pulls all the stops out there and actually like shows how useful he could be if he tried. And the finale, the final season, is him knowing that Twilight has to become not just a princess but the princess.
Yeah.
And is posing as a villain to give them one last hurrah together as the main 6 before they have to, grow up and grow apart.
Oh, fair enough, man. Like, I never got that far in My Little Pony, so I all of that was beyond my scope. That being said, even when he is an active dickhead villain, I do appreciate that he still has a soft spot for Pinkie Pie, because her chaotic nature aligns with his greatly.
Yeah, even in his introduction when he was just a villain, yeah.
Just like, I'm going to make it rain chocolate, and Pinkie Pie's just like, yay, and starts drinking the rain, and Discord's just
Eternal chaos comes with chocolate rain, you guys, chocolate rain. And then he tries to, when he drinks the glass of milk, he drinks the glass and throws away the milk and it explodes.
Yeah, Discord is silly. I love it.
Yep. Who's going to be your number 2?
Number 2 is going to be one Cloud Strife from Kingdom Hearts 1.
Okay.
Did you ever play Kingdom Hearts? I forget.
I didn't. So this is really weird in that I like Disney stuff and I like Final Fantasy stuff, but the times at which I liked both of them were kind of separated. Like, I like Disney Disney when I was very little, and I like Disney now, but when I was like 11 to 20, I was like not as interested in it.
I mean, honestly, I do recommend going back and playing Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2.
Yeah. 1 and 2, and then probably skip all the things that are not 3 and maybe do 3 maybe.
Well, here's the thing, is like, that's how I played the games, because 1 and 2 were on the PS2, and everything else in between came out on weird fucking different consoles. Like, there was one on the 3DS, there was one on the GBA, there was one on the phone.
Oh, yeah, and there was definitely one on the PSP. I tried that one, and I was like, I'm not getting into these. Who the hell is this Xehanort guy?
Oh, right, yeah, I think that was the most egregious one, because that had proper fucking plot in it with the new trio of characters.
Yeah, it's Aqua, Vent, and
Terra.
Yeah, Terra.
Anyway, I digress. In Kingdom Hearts 1, Cloud is a villain when you first meet him. You meet him in the Colosseum. The Olympus Coliseum, and Hades has contracted him to kill you. And he doesn't hold anything back in the fight, and the fight is to the death, as opposed to every other fight that's been like, this is tournament rules, you can't die. You can lose this fight, and if you do, Cloud goes for the finishing blow before, I believe it's Hercules comes in and saves you.
Yeah.
Hercules is canonically stronger than Cloud. Fucking eat shit, Square Enix nerds. But regardless of the reason, Cloud realizes he's being tricked and manipulated by Hades and just goes, fuck you, buddy. And from then on in Kingdom Hearts, he's just a good guy, except he's Cloud, so he does Cloud things.
Yeah, he only cares about Sephiroth.
Pretty much, man. Like, Kingdom Hearts 2, his story, like, him and Tifa, the only reason they're involved is to give you an excuse to fight Sephiroth again.
Yeah.
In Kingdom Hearts 1, Sephiroth is the platinum mega super secret boss in the Olympus Coliseum.
Yeah. I'm aware of that. I'm aware Sephiroth is like the true sin penance of...
he's the Ozma.
The Ozma. Yeah, he's the Ozma.
Why is Ozma the go-to for everyone when it comes to hard Final Fantasy bosses?
Well, because if I say Omega Weapon, then you're not going to have the same sheer terror that I have from, like, my first Final Fantasy was 8. So, yeah, the Omega Weapon was it for me.
You say Omega Weapon, and I'm just thinking Sapphire from FF7, where you had a fucking time limit for no reason.
Yeah.
Well, the time limit was meant to be like, oh, you're underwater, right? Or something. Or if you don't beat this fight, the base explodes. I can't remember. Either way, fuck time limits in RPGs.
Yeah, Emerald was underwater, and that was the one with the time limit. And you got a longer time limit if you had the breathing materia.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
And only one person needed it, and then everyone could breathe.
Cool. It's going on Aerith. Oh, wait. Anyway. Yeah, I think Cloud gets it. I think Cloud being an outright villain to start with probably threw a lot of people for 6.
Because doesn't he show up with his one-winged angel form as well?
Yeah, he's got a little wing, and he's got the wrappings around his Buster Blade. It's a really good design, and it kind of sucks that in 2 they revert to his fucking Advent Children look.
Yeah, fair enough.
But anyway, I digress. Cloud gets it. Of course, we were going to mention a Final Fantasy character in face heel turns. Rick, who's your number 2?
My number 2 is Peridot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she takes basically an entire season to do it, and it's real heartwarming to watch it, and I had the joy of watching it unfold as time went by. You were able to watch it at will, essentially, with me along with us, and anybody who wants to see our reactions live can go back and watch the nonsense retrospective as not the retrospective, the non-stop review as it started.
Yeah, we're doing the nonsense retrospective, Rick.
Yes.
Just to add to that, though, I think I also suffered a little bit from the fact that obviously I didn't start watching until Steven Universe was complete and finished. I happened to already know that Peridot became a good guy at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So my view was tinted a little bit. That being said, her learning adventure on Earth was very adorable.
Yeah. Especially how her initial rehabilitation zone was just the toilet.
To be fair, I don't think that was rehabilitation. That was, I'm scared for my fucking life, man.
Yeah, and this place has a door that I can close.
And that's the episode we learned that the only gem that uses the toilet on a regular basis is Amethyst, because she eats so much shit.
Yeah, and she needs to crap. So yeah, Peridot's going to be my number 2. So who's going to be your crowning glory, your number 1?
My number 1 might be surprising, Rick, but I think they definitely deserve this spot, and I think they're on the top spot for a lot of people.
Go ahead.
Big fucking Smoke.
Big Smoke?
From Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Okay.
Your lack of reaction tells me that you might not have played this game.
I have not played any Grand Theft Auto games apart from like the first 10 minutes of GTA 5. I only bought GTA 5 to play the multiplayer, and we never did. So
that's a correction. We did play multiplayer. One of us had horrible issues with the servers, so then we just stopped.
Yes. And then the servers got reset.
Yeah.
So nobody got to keep anything.
That's not true.
Is it not?
No, I don't know where you heard that, but it didn't happen.
I thought it was about 2 years ago. Like they just completely wiped out the servers and just restarted from scratch.
I'm pretty sure that's not true.
Okay.
Bear in mind, I had to start from scratch on multiplayer because my multiplayer character's on the PlayStation. That you might be conflating the two things.
No. There was I've seen articles in the past couple of years about that happening. But
if you say so. If that happened, then I'm blissfully unaware. It didn't affect the PlayStation, I'll tell you that.
Sure.
Anyway, I digress. Big Smoke is a piece of shit. He is responsible for the entire... Well, him and Ryder, but Ryder gets dealt with really early on. He is responsible for the entire dissolution of the Grove Street family, as far as you, the protagonist, CJ, is aware, when you think about it. You start the game and he's like, he treats you like a long-lost brother, and he guides you into how Los Santos has changed since you've been away. And you learn via Caesar, who is your sister's boyfriend in-game, that he saw something troubling, and you do a little bit of spying, and Ryder and Big Smoke have been collaborating with Ballers. They have a green saber that allegedly was involved in the hit of your mother. So there's a lot of personal vendetta being set up by the fact that Big Smoke betrayed you, he betrayed your family, he betrayed your gang, and ultimately you get driven out of Los Santos. You do a lot of growing as you travel between San Fierro and Las Venturas. So Los Santos, is LA, San Fierro, San Francisco, Las Venturas is Las Vegas, but they can't call them that because then... But yeah, he is the ultimate antagonist. He is the final person you kill, and when you're confronting him, when you meet him in his penthouse fucking suite, he's just sat there playing fucking video games, smoking cigars, eating junk food, while wearing a fucking bulletproof vest. And when he sees you, he calls you out as a bitch, basically, and he says, I deserve all this. Very Rendon Howe-ish. And you cap that motherfucker.
Oof. Yeah. It sounds cathartic.
It is, man. He's responsible for the downfall of everything. And, and he treats you like a brother when he meets you again. It's such a stab in the back.
Sure.
And I think lots of people who play Grand Theft Auto San Andreas will share the sentiment of, fuck Big Smoke.
Yeah, totally. Like you say, he sounds like an absolute joy of a villain to take care of.
Also, he's responsible for one of the most aggravating missions in the game. There was a mission about but before you get kicked out of Los Santos, you got to follow some rival drug members on top of a train, and Big Smoke has to shoot them, so you have to keep in line with the train. It's very easy to do when you're an adult and know how to play video games, but when you're a child and shouldn't be playing Grand Theft Auto, it's very annoying. And I think the line, all you had to do was follow the damn train, CJ, has been cemented in many a people's mind. Because that mission, you are likely to fuck up. Because even if you're using cheat codes, there's nothing you can do to make Big Smoke aim better.
Yeah.
But yeah, Big Smoke gets the crown for top face heel turn for me. What about you, Rick? Who gets your number one spot?
Well, my number one, because all of mine are heel face turns, it's going to be Hunter from the Owl House.
Okay.
And I think we cemented it pretty much with when season 2 was coming to a close of I've only had Hunter for one season, and if anything happens to him, I will murder everyone in this room and then myself.
But it's so easy to be endeared into Hunter because as a viewer, you can see what Balos is doing. You can see the only reason Hunter is the way he is because Balos is a piece of shit.
Yeah. It's Cadra again, except distilled because we don't have enough time for a long arc. All we've got is the initial introduction of Lilith thinking he's a bit of a piece of shit and showing that he's a little shit, and even early on he shows that he's not all 100% bad, and then he has his essentially his fall from grace, and it's not until having to collaborate with Amity because Kikimora is trying to kill him that he's really questioning his not just his abilities but his loyalties.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where people always go on and harp on about loyalty is an important trait. You should be loyal to X or Y or Z. A lot of people get this way about their jobs and their employers. It's like you should be loyal to them, and it seems to be a forgotten thing that loyalty loyalty has always been and always should be a two-way street.
Yeah, it should be earned, not assumed.
Like, it's one of those where, like, you get these famous examples of people who were loyal to the end. Like, I'm sorry, I have to use a Three Kingdoms reference because it's what I'm most knowledgeable about. Where the only reason Guan Yu is as famous as he is because he stuck loyal to Liu Bei. Because Liu Bei treated him well, so Guan Yu treated him well in kind. If Guan Yu had defected to Cao Cao when given the opportunity, of which he was given many, he would be a footnote in history at best.
Yeah, most likely.
But again, it's like, it's not just about being blindly loyal, it's being loyal because the person you're being loyal to has done nothing but treat you with kindness. So of course you're loyal to them, because they're loyal to you. The relationship is a bit different because they're technically above you, but if they treat you good, then you stick with them.
Yeah, loyalty is just kind of like the evolved form of respect, really, isn't it?
I suppose.
But yeah, Hunter is, I think he's a masterstroke in condensing the journey from heel to face within one season, and even after that he's still a troubled little guy. And he has his stint as the face of villainy against his will in the final 3 episodes for a little bit.
Yeah, but he gets some kick-ass scars, though.
He does.
And also, he gives us one of the most heart-wrenching moments in the final 3 episodes.
Yeah. Where's Flapjack? Stop, I already know.
Don't kick the puppy.
But yes, rather than doing a standard final 3, I'm just going to ask, which one of mine was your favourite?
It's real difficult because I'm torn between Hunter and Peridot, but I think I'm going to give it to Peridot just because we had a bit more time with her. Like, we've both documented at least some of our exposure to the character with the non-stop.
Yeah, in fact, I think we've got all of the character exposure. I don't think she shows up in any episodes that we've not reacted to.
That's fair. I just meant, as in that you obviously were exposed to the character ages ago, whereas it was my first time watching. That's what I meant by most of our exposure.
Sure.
But, you know, I think she's got an interesting arc, especially seeing as a villain. It seems to be a theme when it comes to heel-face turns, that they're never really heels in the first place. They're forced into a position where they're a heel or bad things happen to them.
Yeah. And,
except for Vegeta. Vegeta's just a piece of shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think he's the only example on your list where, he's a dirtbag. Fuck him.
Yeah, totally. Fair enough.
But yeah, how about you? Same question. Names first.
Yeah, my one for you is Griffith. He's definitely the most iconic that I can think of out of your list, and he's just... Even without knowing the series, everyone knows about Griffith. If you know anything about anime or manga in general, you know Griffith.
Yeah, Griffith, certified bastard.
Yeah.
Like,
pretty bastard. Pretty bastard.
Worse than Vegeta.
Yeah.
Because the people Vegeta killed, apart from Nappa, he doesn't know. He doesn't care.
Yeah, they're all nobodies to him. They're just things to crush underneath his boot. Except maybe Apul, I guess.
No, that's a fucking Team 4-star thing, my friend.
Oh no, he is an actual character.
No, yeah, I meant Vegeta's attitude towards Apul is a Team 4-star thing.
Sure, and I think he does Zarbon and Dodoria, doesn't he?
Yeah, but he hates them.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is because we've seen him fully face-turn, we've seen how he acts when people he cares about get hurt, specifically his wife.
Yeah. My Bulma!
Like, if he cares about you, he's going to find it difficult to fight you. He has no issue fucking kicking Kakarot's ass if he has the power level, because he doesn't actually like Kakarot.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Goku loves Vegeta. He's probably spent more time with Vegeta than with his wife, and that's telling. Vegeta just doesn't like Goku at all.
Well, it's because Goku is the antithesis of everything a Saiyan's meant to be.
Yeah, although they do both want a good fight. That's the one thing they have in common.
I assume that's why Goku likes him so much.
Yeah, because Vegeta can always give Goku a good fight.
Yeah, but he'll never win.
Apart from one time in one movie.
Which isn't canon. Arguable.
Yeah, it's once it gets adapted into the series proper, rather than just being a movie, then it'll be canon. But even then, it's only because Vegeta stayed standing for half a second longer.
Are we really pulling the technically maneuver?
Well, yeah, apparently Broly found it so moving that he was brought to tears.
Shut up.
But yes. So yes, that's about it from us today. If you like the video, you've got the comment section down below on YouTube. And if you're listening via one of the many audio platforms, you can instead send an email to
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Please let us know who you would have added to this list, and let us know who from this list, either or really, stood out most to you. Because I'm dying to hear at least one other person say, yeah man, fuck Big Smoke.
And shout at us if we're wrong, that's fine too. But yes, if you made it this far, as always, you're our favourite people. And it's going to be a goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me. The steel chair has been put away for now.
Bye.